Hey, welcome back to Beer and Money. I'm Alex Collins, and Ryan's out sick today, so it'll just be me holding down the podcast. So today, we are going to talk about how to find an advisor. It's something that we've actually gotten quite a few questions from, and it seems to be just a hot topic in general. So, the goal here is to go ahead and kind of break it down into three main areas of questions. One is how to actually source a list and find an advisor or advisors. Two is what to look for. And then three is what questions to ask when you do meet with them. Before we get into that, today, without Ryan, I am drinking a sour. So this is Supplication from Russian River down in California. They make some of the best sours around. This one is a classic and it's a great beer. So let's dive in. How to find an advisor. We're hearing more and more people using AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini. We're hearing people go on to places like Reddit and Yelp. We're hearing things where a lot of people still find their advisor through word of mouth and favorable introductions from their friends. So if you've got a friend who is well off, or you think that they have their stuff together as it relates to money, ask them who they use, ask them what their experience is, what they like about them, what they don't like about them, if they would recommend them, those types of things. So those are the kind of the main places that we've heard people finding advisors. Again, that's asking AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, sourcing it on the internet, whether it's Google or Reddit or Yelp or whatever else, and then asking friends and family. Finding somebody or a center of influence, like ask your CPA, ask your attorney, ask other people in the financial world that you trust, and understand where that comes from. Like, we have a tendency of taking advice, and because we trust the person as it relates to things in general, we'll tend to trust them when it comes to money. Like, we recently had a client who said, "Oh yeah, my dad is terrible at money. Here's what he says about what to do." And we were like, "Okay, you just said that he was terrible at money. Why would you listen to any piece of advice he has around money?" And that's not to denigrate dad in that situation, but at the same time, like, if he hasn't done a great job of exuding financial well-being, why are you taking advice from that person? Make sure that you understand where you're taking advice from, why you may be taking advice from them, and what bias they have. All of us have biases. It's just a matter of understanding where it comes from and what it is, and then finding the right person to provide advice for you. Ultimately, financial planning and financial advising, this should be an ongoing process, not a one and done or a specific topic and then done. The advisor should ask a lot of questions, dig into and learn about your personal financial situation. So what to look for? That's the first thing, is somebody who asks you a bunch of questions and wants to get to know you as an individual, wants to be able to understand where you're at, what you're trying to accomplish, and where to go. The next thing is understanding credentialing. It is really, really challenging for the average person to understand the credentialing that goes on in the financial world. There are different licenses, there's different designations. It takes most people in the financial world 3 to 5 years to figure it out for themselves, and they're dealing with it day in and day out. So being able to understand why somebody is recommending something and what the alternatives are. And so much of it is getting a sense of like, okay, like what is the process that my advisor goes through? What's the due diligence that they do on vetting different insurance policies or investments or financial plans or whatever else? Understand what their process is so that you can, either agree or disagree. If you disagree, it's probably not the right person for you. You need to understand what their philosophy is around money. Now, where is it that they're going to actually provide advice? Where are they able to provide advice? And where aren't they able to provide advice? And if they're not able to provide advice, okay, what insight, what strategies, what are the other things that they can do? And whom else do they work with? Now, for example, I'm not an attorney. I don't write up legal documents. My job is identifying, hey, we need to go ahead and delve into this world. Do you have one that you're comfortable with? Great. Let's sit down, the three of us or the four of us, and talk about it. Let's then take those documents and review them by some folks that all they do all day, every day is look at documents like this. And they'll come back and say, hey, this looks really good. Or, hey, you might want to think about doing this, this, or this. Or, wow, this document's a mess. And it depends on the situation as far as like which one is applicable. So making sure that the advisor is team oriented, that they're working with you on whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Maybe even before we get there is understanding the scope of what you're looking for. Do you want somebody who is going to be there and hold your hand? Answer any financial question you've got. Do you want somebody who's going to ask and just talk into the investment component or just the insurance component? But understanding what you're looking for and understanding what's available out there and understanding a bit about how some of the different licensing works is important. Again, there's no magic bullet. There's no right or wrong. We do things a very, very specific way, but that's based on our philosophy and how we've been trained and why we do things the way we do. We can back everything that we do up with math and science. Yes, there is a certain amount of art to it because the future is unknowable and unknown. Our job is to be there as a guide to make sure that whatever the choice is, it's made with as much knowledge and foresight into the issues and the concerns as possible. So understanding what it is that that person does and what it is that that person doesn't do, how they're licensed, whether they're FINRA licensed, SEC licensed, what series they hold, whether it's 6, 63, 65, 66, 7, 24, whatever. There's a ton of different tests effectively that allow folks to do different things. And it's confusing as all heck to the public. There's also people out there that aren't licensed at all and have no regulatory requirements talking about finances and providing advice. Be very wary of those folks because there's nothing vetting that. The last thing is what questions to ask. I mean, the first question that I would ask is like, what is it that like, why is it that you got into the industry? What keeps you getting up in the morning and helping folks? Who's your target client? Understanding if you, as the client, fit the profile of whom that advisor works with on a regular basis. Not all advisors are good fit for all clients, even if they're really good. The really good advisors will freely admit that and say, oh, hey, you need to go talk to so and so because you're a Boeing engineer and I don't deal well with Boeing engineers, but I know, my buddy John loves Boeing engineers, does a great job with them. Great, let's get you in front of John, the guy who loves that. So making sure that you're a good fit for the target market for that advisor and that the advice that you're looking for is something that they do on a regular basis. College planning, estate planning, protection planning, wealth protection, wealth transfer, wealth accumulation, investment management, taxation. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Well, maybe the answer is we want somebody to be there that looks at the entire picture. And that's what we do. We don't really know how to do just a piece of it because it's all interconnected. And we've got some clients that ask us to do just a piece of it, and we're happy to do that most of the time, but it's not what we enjoy doing. And most of the time we're not necessarily serving our clients the best that we possibly can because all of the different components are interconnected in our mind. But get a sense of okay, how long have they been in the industry? What designations have they earned? Is it just them? Do they have a team? What's their succession plan? If you're 25 and they're 65, how long are they going to be around? If they're 55, what's their plan for retirement? If they're retiring in 3 years, you'd want to know that, right? And that isn't saying that that person isn't the one that you should hire. Maybe they have a great person waiting in the wings that's going to be in a bunch of the meetings and is going to come in and take over. But you want to make sure that you're vetting that person too. Making sure that they've got some sort of transition. Most of the better advisors have a team behind them. So it's not just them. What happens if that advisor is out of the country or unavailable for whatever reason? What's the process of getting in touch with somebody else, and how easily are they going to know your situation? So getting a sense for those things. What are the designations that they've earned? That'll tell you about where they focus their time. What is it that they're trying to accomplish? Someone who's a CFP and a certified chartered financial consultant, those are people that typically do good comprehensive planning. Folks that have their RICP typically do focus on retirement income because that's what their designation is in. There are a ton of different designations out there. Ask people what their designation is and why it was important to them. Ask them what their plan is for when they retire. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this gives you some ammunition for going out and finding an advisor that's right for you, whether that's us or somebody else. And lastly, I've seen a tremendous amount of folks questioning what's the value of a financial advisor and when, at what income level or what dollar amount do I go hire one? 9 times out of 10, clients come to us almost too late. They should have hired us 3 to 5 years before they did. Or we'll get told, hey, where were you 10 years ago? I wish I would have known about this. Any truly good advisor is only going to take you on as a client if they can add value to your situation, net of whatever their cost is. And it should be on that advisor or the team of advisors to be able to articulate what the value is. and why you should hire them. So again, hopefully this was valuable. As always, cheers. Head on over to beerandmoney.net. Drop us a line if you have a question, if this raised questions, if there's a topic that you'd like Ryan and I to discuss in the upcoming weeks. Let us know. And above all else, make it a great day. Cheers.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or Quantified Financial Partners, and opinions stated are their own. Guardian, its subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk and may lose value. This material is intended for general public use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities LLC is not undertaking to provide investment advice or a recommendation for any specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Please contact a financial representative for guidance and information that is specific to your individual situation. Ryan and Alex are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities, LLC. OSJ 200 Market Street, Suite 1850, Portland, Oregon 97201. Phone number 503-221-1226. Securities products and advisory services offered through Park Avenue Securities, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Quantified Financial Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or Guardian. Ryan Burklow, CA Insurance License Number 0K24924. Alexander Collins, CA Insurance License Number 0H24806.
8608005.1, expiration November 2027.